Shadow Dancer here. How's everybody doing? I thought I would come on for a little bit and talk about something that it's in my heart to say today. Now I'm physically moving through either integration of energies or a virus or both. I know everything's connected right now, so not feeling my best, but I sincerely feel like I need to talk about this right now because I know it pertains to a lot of people. Maybe there's somebody out there that just really needs to hear this right now. So what I wanted to talk about is substances and alcohol, particularly substance abuse and alcohol, and the way that we have been programmed to see it, perceive it, and the judgments and criminality that's linked to it. Okay, so where to start? The spiritual perspective on alcohol and substances. Well, they don't call alcohol spirits for no reason. And if you've gone down the rabbit hole with this, you know, a deeper discussion on it, I might do another time. But suffice it to say, if you've been awake for some time, you know that substances and alcohol, that there are spirits, entities, energies attached to those things, and that they will use human vehicles to satisfy their cravings, their yearnings. A friend of mine used to call it hijacking. She said you'd get hijacked. So we all have different wirings based on what we've come down here to do, what our past lives are, our ancestral lines, our starseed origins, multiple things we could talk about. What makes up you, your universe that makes up you is a very complicated, multifaceted thing. And for whatever reason, in a particular lifetime, we might have puzzle pieces that fit very nicely with certain substances and the spirits and entities that are attached to those substances that move through those substances. Now, anytime any of us, and that pertains to plant medicine too, ingest anything or smoke anything that changes our state of mind, it opens doors. It opens doors. And if there's anybody out there who's like, oh, that's rubbish, well, just wait. On your path, when you awake a little more, you'll understand that what I'm saying is truth. It opens doors. It creates tears in your auric field and allows perceptions to be widened. A lot of the things we think we see and hear when we're on substances that we call hallucinating, you're not hallucinating. You're genuinely seeing those things and hearing those things. So whether it's an illegal substance or whether you're working with plant medicines, anything that comes in and widens the consciousness or branches the consciousness out, illegal substances tend to create tears in the auric field and can allow for visitors or a hijacking of sorts, and experiences that you genuinely wouldn't be taking were you not on that substance. And they're portals, they're door openers. And certain people have puzzle pieces that fit with certain substances. So one of the things I really wanted to talk about today, particularly if any of you have struggled with substance abuse, addiction, and the shame, the guilt and the shame that comes with it. I really want to nip that in the bud right now because there's absolutely no reason for you to feel shame or guilt for having an addictive behavior with a particular substance, an addictive past, or if you're struggling now. Absolutely no reason, and here's why. There's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you, and it's not a disease. So our society and our programmers like to throw around the narrative that if you abuse alcohol or if you have a problem with alcohol, that somehow you have a disease. Now, I completely disagree with that 150%. It's bullshit. You don't have a disease. Would you tell somebody who couldn't use heroin on the weekends moderately and put it down and go back to work on Monday that they had a disease, that there was something wrong with them? Would you tell somebody who tried crack cocaine once and ended up becoming an addict and a junkie that they had a disease because they couldn't put it down and go back to their normal life and just use it socially? Nope. So why do we do that with alcohol? Because alcohol, how can I put this in words wisely? Alcohol is the substance of choice that they use to braid through society. That's why it's legal still. There are more incidents, domestic violence cases, criminality linked to that particular substance than any other substance. So why is it still legal? We're taught that it's a normal part of adult life. We're taught that it's fun. We're taught that it's sexy. We're taught that social events revolve around it, that life revolves around it, you know, going to ball games, going to concerts, going on dates, that it's just a natural part of adult life. And if you can't handle it, that there's something wrong with you. And that's not true, because alcohol is a drug. Alcohol is a drug. Look up the definition of drug. Alcohol is a drug. It's a mood-altering chemical. It's a mood-altering substance. It changes your brain chemistry. Just like every other drug. It's not different than any other drug. It's a liquid, you drink it. It's a drug. It's a legal drug that is available on almost every street corner and is socially acceptable, particularly in the United States. And there's a reason why a lot of major religions don't allow it, because they're aware of what it genuinely is. Now, there's spirits attached to alcohol and spirits, that's why they call it spirits, but there's spirits attached to every substance you can ingest. But this one's a very powerful one, and it's particularly strong, and it's legal for a reason. Now, you either hear what I'm saying or you don't hear what I'm saying, but if this is for you, this should lighten the burden on your mind a touch. Because now look, if you're in AA or something like that's working for you, then great, continue to do it. Anything that keeps you in a healthier place in your life, if that's what's doing it for you, then continue doing it. What I don't like about the system there is that I feel like it instills, like it's like a scarlet letter A, ironically, on your chest, that somehow there's something wrong with you. Somehow there's something maladaptive about you. Somehow there's a dysfunction in you, or worse, a dis-ease in the brain that's not allowing you to partake like normal, regular people of society and have fun like other normal people in society. Therefore, you need to white knuckle it, make sure you stay away from it, and work on what's wrong with you. Work on your problems and what's wrong with you. Now, I am a huge advocate of working on I don't even want to say what's wrong. I'm a huge advocate of self-healing. I have been passionately and vehemently on a self-healing journey and process my whole life, particularly the past 6-7 years. It's been deep, and it's been the hardest, most terrifying, painful thing I've ever done in my life, but worth every second, because this is about my soul. This is about my health, and this is about my soul. And to me, that is the great work, and it is where the riches are. That's where the wealth is. So to me, that's everything. I'm all about doing the self-work. What I'm not about is the perspective of that there's something wrong with you, and that's why you have a problem with alcohol. Now, I'm gonna link this into other substances too. I use alcohol as an example because alcohol is legal, and alcohol is it's the one substance. It's like, oh well, you can drink. Don't shoot up heroin. Don't smoke crack cocaine. I would even say snorting cocaine has become more normalized. I live in South Florida, so it's a lot of people have cocaine in their back pocket, like chewing gum. You know, it's become like a normal, regular part of their routine, especially if it's linked to nights out drinking. Some people do their little lines to have a better time, or to sober up, or to come off of it the next day. So depending on where you are and where you live, cocaine's a little more normalized there too, which is crazy. But it's a substance, it opens doors, and it's potentially very addictive and can ruin your life. You know, some people can smoke crack cocaine and end up an addict on the streets for the next 10, 20, 30 years, or die. Same with heroin. Inject once, you're a junkie for life. Now, that's not always true. There have been people who have shot up and not become junkies. There are people who have smoked crack and not become junkies. I'm just gonna be vulnerable here. I tried crack cocaine once. I smoked it all day long. Smoked crack. And I smoked it because I was trying to come off another substance. And somebody told me that it would be helpful. So in my desperation, I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Smoked it all day long. I had a little energy, but that's basically all I felt from it. And I was bored. So I went home and ended up sleeping the next 3 days. That was not fun. Getting it out of my system was not fun. But I never touched it again, nor would I. I had no proclivity. I have no proclivity towards it. I have no leaning towards it. I have no desire. I have no craving, period. Whereas somebody else could have tried it and become a junkie. I was really lucky there. I was really fortunate there. I've also, back in the days when I lived in California and I was doing my little partying phase, I would do a line here and there, you know, go to raves, that's what you do, take your ecstasy, drink your alcohol, do a couple lines. Loved it. It gave me lots of energy. It was a lot of fun, good times. But I was able to put it down, go back to work on Monday, and, you know, weeks or maybe months later, not touch it, and then come back to it the next rave or the next dance party where I felt like it would be fitting. So thank goodness I didn't become addicted to cocaine, but I could have, and some people do. One line and it's over for them. That puzzle piece seems to fit just perfect with their wiring, their chemistry, and their makeup. And for whatever reason, they are charted spiritually for particular energies. And so that particular substance is the one that fits just perfect, and off they go. They're hijacked, you know? Now, as I'm illustrating all this, I am not saying that you should not take personal responsibility for the process of addiction, having started the process of addiction and what one has done on that journey, because I have known so many people who have gone on addicted journeys with substances, and I myself struggled with something for a very long time. I know very well the damage and the destruction that being on an addictive path can create within one's life, within one's own self, the health, relationships with others, friends, family, everything. It just erodes. It's a wrecking ball, absolute wrecking ball. And that we have to take responsibility for. But I will also say alongside with that, it wasn't just you. It wasn't just you. I know I'm gonna have some people fighting about that, but whatever, I really don't care. I'm saying what I'm saying. It wasn't just you. Now, yes, it was a part of you, and taking responsibility for what has been done has to be done, and that could be a grueling process. That can be tough. Facing up to what we've done, what we've put others through, can be really hard. But you have to, in order to heal yourself, to love yourself, and to move on. It has to be done. But it wasn't just you, okay? There was another, or others, that it was a collaborative process, let's just say. Because the moment we partake in a behavior, whether we're snorting a line, injecting something, smoking something, drinking something, in that moment, even though we have not verbally said so, we are giving consent to that thing and everything that's attached to it. Once you have given consent to that portal, to that doorway of that particular drug, substance, game's on. So it wasn't just you driving your car, you had passengers, and sometimes those passengers took the wheel and you were in the back seat for a while. So if that analogy helps a little bit. But don't beat yourself up, and don't feel a ton of shame, and don't feel a ton of guilt, because it is a complicated process. Being addicted to a substance, having an addiction problem, having a journey with drugs and alcohol is a very complicated thing. I came on here to say this today because for the longest time, I really struggled with feeling like there was something wrong with me. And how could I go out with my friends who were still participating with this particular thing and have a good time? Well, the answer is I can't, and I won't. Because being around, it's not healthy, and it's not my path anymore. So I do think it's important to separate yourself from people who see it as a normal thing, or who use it either habitually or even socially, if there's something you're coming off of. And this can pertain to sugar too. You can have a sugar addiction, and for whatever reason, sugar just fits real nice with your biochemistry, your psychology. Maybe you have nutritional deficiencies, because those can create sugar cravings. It's a multi-pronged thing. So if you are addicted to sugar, is there something wrong with you? No, there's nothing wrong with you. And I would even go so far as to say, people like, okay, well, a nutritional deficiency is something wrong with you. No, let's take the word wrong out of the conversation, please. It is so destructive, and it's so self-debasing. There's nothing wrong with you. There never was. Okay, so if you are prone to eating sugar or binge eating, you probably have some nutritional deficiencies. There's probably a lot of psychology going on there. You're trying to fill a void, fill a hole, okay? Let's go back to childhood trauma. And that's where the self-healing, the self-work, like what I feel AA kind of leads everybody through, you know, taking responsibility for those that they've hurt and harmed. That's a beautiful thing. It needs to be done. It needs to be done. But we also need, where I think AA falls short, honestly, is going back to the why. Okay? Alcohol is a substance, it's a drug. And although it doesn't hijack everybody, it hijacks a lot of people. A lot of people have issues with alcohol. A lot of people cannot drink moderately. And it's not because there's anything wrong with them, and it's not because they have a disease. Okay? Alcohol is a strong drug, and it's got some strong spirits attached to it that ride with it. So, but why we start drinking and doing drugs. So one, we got social programming that says that it's fun and it's normal to do so, which is asinine. I really hope we move into a new frequency on this planet where that is just not even part of our narrative anymore at all, because it's not normal and it's not healthy. Drinking alcohol every weekend is not normal and it's not healthy. We have been programmed to think that, but it's not. Also moving into something, a lot of people move into alcohol or drugs or substances because they're in pain, they're hurting, they're lost, they're lonely, or they feel pressured into it. They don't know how to have sex sober. They feel uncomfortable in their bodies, uncomfortable in their own skins. Well, that's a big one. They don't know how to relate to others. They don't know how to be creative. They don't know how to let go and release and be who they are authentically and genuinely, unless they have something that shuts down their conscious mind, and then they can just bleh. That happens a lot with drugs. People are just like, people say, oh, Shelly became somebody completely different. Well, that might be her shadow self. That might be a lot of her repressed personality that never gets to come out because for whatever reason, whether it be childhood trauma, abuse, neglect, past life stuff, it's capped, it's being held down. So when her conscious mind is shut down, then that side of her can come out, not to mention the other passengers that are riding with her. You know what I mean? Because you have become an open vessel. I remember I listened to, it was a video or a podcast once of this woman. I think she was a psychic medium, but she talked about how anybody who a lot of the very sensitive, spiritually awake, and starseed people particularly should never go in bars. But they shouldn't drink. Definitely shouldn't drink or do drugs. Because she said she went to a bar once and she didn't drink because she already knew this. I think she went for a friend's birthday, but it was when her abilities had really opened up. And she could see these beings all over the bar. Not humans. Beings all over the bar that were standing by all of the humans, waiting for the humans' vehicles and auric field to open up. And once that human started drinking, I think she said, once they had like a drink or two, that auric field opened up and that being would slip right in. And she said sometimes people had 2 or 3 that would slip right in, and she could see it, with her psychic vision. These people slipping into these human vessels, or I shouldn't say people, these entities slipping into these human vessels. Are they disembodied spirits that were addicts in this lifetime and are still craving? She said that was one of the types that would hang around the bars and slip into a physical body because they were craving that substance, maybe craving depraved sexual acts that only come when somebody has imbibed enough to partake in those things. So that entity would slip into that human body so it could experience the alcohol, it could experience the crazy sexual behavior the rest of the night. And then that person would wake up the next day like, oh my God, what did I do last night? What happened? They were kind of a vehicle for another to go on a joyride all night long. But she said there were many, many, many disembodied spirits, entities, all different kinds, hanging out every body, just waiting for that auric field to open and have its fun. So if we go into another tangent on this, why can like with me, I was able to do coke, it never became a problem. I smoked crack once, hated it. I tried crystal meth a couple times, hated it. They never took, thank goodness they never took. But alcohol did take. Alcohol was something for me, and I'm just going to be honest about it, because you know what? If we can't be honest about it, we can't heal. So alcohol was the thing for me. It just locked onto me like the perfectly made key to a lock. And it did, the problem with it grew over the years, but as I started developing psychically and healing more, the doors that it was opening were massive, massive. And I was getting to where my clairs were developing, you know, my clairaudience, my clairvisual. And the last few times that I actually did drink, the things that happened in the spiritual realm and the things I was able to see and sense, no. And it was really tough getting off of it. It's almost like it had me, like it wasn't letting go. And the process physically, I'm not even gonna just say withdrawal, the process physically of these things coming out of me, that I could see them, that were using my body. Now, if this scares you, good. Maybe it should, because it's very real. And so, yeah, none of the hard substances I ever used took. It was the one legal one that everybody likes to use and have fun with. And I prayed a lot about it and I meditated a lot about it because it's quite a thing. And most people I know that are on a sincere spiritual path don't imbibe either. They don't touch substances because they work with plant medicines. And that can be a different story because the plant medicines they're a consciousness that, plant medicines are a consciousness. That's a whole other conversation. They, if you work with the right people, it is a protected ceremony. It's they protect the space, you know, because they're aware that it opens doors too, but the space is protected. And the spirit that works with the plant medicine, whether it's San Pedro, peyote, ayahuasca, etc., those are Mother Nature's spirits. And they want what Mother Nature wants, which is growth and evolution. So that consciousness is working with you. Whereas you're working with cocaine, heroin, smoking crack, alcohol, those tend to be lower density, lower based vibrational entities and consciousnesses that are attached to those particular things. So that's how I would differentiate the two. But again, that's another conversation for another time entirely. I don't want to go off the rails here. I really just want to come on and talk about, I don't want you to feel like there's something wrong with you. And I don't want you to feel like life can't be good without that thing. And I don't want you to feel like because of the mess that you've been, or the mess that you've made of things, the destruction and the wrecking ball that you have been in your life as an addict, or maybe you're off it now, that it was entirely you, because it wasn't. And there's nothing wrong with you. You can't expect somebody, particularly us humans who come down here with amnesia and are very vulnerable to, I mean, the physical world is maybe 1% of what we're able to sense. The majority of what exists, normal humans can't see, hear, taste, touch, smell. It's beyond our physical senses. Okay, so the majority of the things that exist are like, you know, surrounding us humans. You got your good, you got your not so good, you got your in-betweens. You got some energies that like to fuck with humanity. They just do. And that's one of the ways that they do it. So just getting real with all of it. And I don't want you to feel guilt or shame. Work on yourself. Yeah. And I wanted to go back to the AA thing about, the one thing that bothered me is, because I did go to a couple of meetings and I was like, I don't like this, because for one, and again, if it works for you, keep going. I'm just giving you my perspective. I don't like how I feel like I have to give up the power in order to be a part of it. Like I am powerless. To say I am powerless is a very, 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 it's such a disservice to yourself. Don't ever say that you are powerless, because that is so not true. You are more powerful than you know. But to say that you are powerless over a substance, I can get on board with that. Now, could you do some healing and you know, drink again or use a substance again and it would be fine? Maybe. People have done it. But I think sometimes we get to the point in our roads where we're like, you know, it's just not worth it anymore. It's not worth the risk, because some people, the destruction and the path that it has left, there was just too much destruction, and the roll of the dice is too much to lose. But getting back to the reasons why did somebody feel the need to dissociate? Why did somebody feel the need to numb out? Why did somebody feel like they had to be under the influence of something to have sex with somebody they were dating? Why do people feel that they need to chemically alter their brain so they can go out and enjoy time with friends or family? Why do people need that buffer? Whatever it is. Childhood trauma, is that looked at? No, it's not addressed. You know, what happened to you? What created that hole? Why is there a hole in you? What is it you really genuinely need? Why are you so uncomfortable in your body? Being in your body, inhabiting your body, that's a big thing with a lot of people. And I know people who drink just fine. When I say drink just fine, they get smashed quite frequently, but they can put it down and go back to work, and they're not, you know, they're not ending up in rehabs and all that stuff. I never went to a rehab, but it was enough of a problem for me that I needed to put it down. But the ones that, you know, like, they're not saying that it's a problem, not their problem. They're not saying it's a problem. They're not acknowledging that they're, you know, drinking too much, but they go out on the weekends and they drink and they do their thing and they you know, put it down, they go back to work. It's still not good for them. It is keeping them at a lower vibration than they could be functioning on. Their work, their health, their relationships would all be so much better if they could get that substance out. I can't remember the studies, the spiritual and scientific studies on it. Like, they've done scientific studies too on how it affects your auric field and how much it dims your auric field. I think just wondering. And it takes like 3 days for the auric field to come back to its normal frequency. 3 days from one drink. So you have somebody who doesn't have a problem, that goes out on the weekends, let's say, or goes to a barbecue on Sunday, has their beers even, you know, whatever, and then they go back to work on Monday. It takes them till Wednesday for their auric field, for their biomagnetic field to come back to normal frequency, okay? Not to mention their liver, their pancreas, everything that's detoxing, their stomach lining repairing, who knows what else. And then you got a couple days, semi-normal and healthy, and then they hit it again. Okay, so we're talking about like a normal person, just for the sake of the conversation. Having their little trysts here and there with it, it's still affecting them on a physical level very deeply. It's just not good. It's just not good. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I just wanted to come on and for those of you who may have struggled in the past or who are struggling, please, there's nothing wrong with you, okay? And think about that. Really think about what I said there. Would you tell somebody who shot heroin up for the first time and ended up developing a problem with it, would you tell them they have a disease? Would you tell them that they have a problem? That they are a problem? Now, the use of the drug is a problem, yes. But would you tell them that there's something wrong with them? That they have the problem, that they own the problem because they can't use that substance moderately? Oh, you wouldn't dream of that. So why would you do that with alcohol? Why would you do that with other substances? And I would even link that to cocaine, because a lot of people use cocaine socially a lot. Some people use it once and they're off and running. So it's a complicated, multi-pronged thing. Don't beat yourself up too much. Make amends where you can. Clean up what you can. Repair what you can. You always have tomorrow. Nothing is truly lost that is of value. You know, you can have a lot of beautiful days ahead of you. So please don't get lost too much in the past and what you've done there. And for heaven's sakes, please don't put that scarlet letter A on your chest and think that there's something wrong with you or that you are a problem, that you have a problem because you can't ingest, snort, smoke, drink, whatever that drug of choice or substance is. Whether it's legal or not, whether it's considered normal or a part of society or not, or who's doing it or not. Please don't think that there's a problem with you, because there's nothing wrong with you. Your puzzle piece just fits nicely with that particular puzzle piece. And again, I would relate this to sugar, to food, to sex. There's a whole number of things, but I'm talking about substances particularly because of the doors that they open, of the entities that ride with them. So yeah, being a little vulnerable coming on here and talking about this today. But hey, if it helps somebody, then it's worth it, right? I have no shame. I have no shame. I've come to my truth about it, and my life just gets better and better every single day. And, you know, live and let live, you know, the ones that can go out and do whatever they can do or whatever they do and come back to it, but they're still living at a lower frequency, you know? Everybody would thrive much better their auric field was strong and their bodies were healthy and they treat themselves with respect and love. And you know, you're a sovereign being. Claim your temple, claim your energy space, and please don't beat yourself up anymore. Do the work. Apologize where you need to apologize. Clean up the messes. But it wasn't just you. And there's nothing wrong with you. Okay? I hope this helps in some way, shape, or form, because when you're struggling, it's hard, especially with these types of things. It can be really hard. And I was alone a lot through my struggles. And I'll probably talk about this some more moving forward. I still don't know what this channel is going to be about. I speak when I feel inspired to speak about something and share, and I just want to be of service however I can. So if you're hurting, please know from my heart to yours, okay? Being human is a complicated thing, and it's not easy, and sometimes it's downright fucking hard. And I'm not blaming you for going to a substance or alcohol to make it easier. I don't. If you can hear that, if that matters, I'm not blaming you for doing that. I'm not blaming you for riding with your friends, family, your partner, whatever thing has become an issue for you. Whatever has become a problem for you. You're not the problem, but whatever has become a problem in your life. I don't blame you. Being on this planet and being in this reality can be really tough. And we all find our ways to cope and navigate through it. So if you are struggling deeply with a substance issue or alcohol issue, just know that there is somebody out there who gets you. There's a lot of people out there that get you, actually, and may you find those people. May you find those people, and may it bring peace to your heart, because great days are ahead. And staying away from it is number one, yes. But just know that you're not the problem. And you got to start looking at what led you there. And what makes you feel so uncomfortable or abnormal that you feel like you need to or should partake in that thing. Because there's nothing normal or healthy about purposefully changing your mental state so you can be more comfortable with people or more comfortable in your body. That's just not healthy. So I hope this helps. I rambled on a little bit, probably more than I should, but this was just kind of off the cuff, impromptu type of speaking, which all my videos have been, honestly. The day I just got out of the shower, I didn't worry about makeup or anything. I was like, I need to speak on this. I just need to. So maybe this was for someone out there. I love you. Do the work. And I'll tell you, there are some amazing experiences you can have once you do the work and you get healed, you start healing, and you go inside and just start truly working with yourself and your own heart and your own creativity. Life can be amazing. Life is amazing. It's inverted. Life isn't more amazing because we can partake with those things. It's a lie. It's a trick. It's a bait and switch. Life is really amazing when we don't let anything sit on our throne or drive our car. Okay? Be a sovereign being. I love you. Talk soon. Thanks for listening.